Big week for us coming up. Guys are excited about the games we have, and most importantly, the opportunity at Oklahoma tomorrow. They're playing terrific. I think playing as well as anybody in the league, offensively, but also defensively, really defending well. So that'll be a heck of a challenge for us. Donovan Williams, I'm sure you guys will ask, injured his knee during the game. That's why he could not play in the second half. I thought he actually played really well in the first half. He's still being evaluated, has an appointment here this afternoon, so I don't have a official diagnosis, but he's been in some pain with that knee for quite some time, going back to before the season even started. It's been something that we've been trying to manage with him, but it definitely took a turn the wrong direction on Saturday at Texas Tech, and he's definitely in some pain right now.
Questions? You said Oklahoma's playing as well as anyone in the league. Same could be said for you guys. Obviously, you want to be playing like this all season long, but how nice is it that when it's coming down to crunch time, Andrew Jones said it up in Lubbock, crunch time, playing well, getting these wins. How nice is it that you're peaking at the right time at least?
Well, I mean, you want your guys playing with confidence at the end of the year as you head into March. Our guys have done a really good job with their preparation. They've done a nice job with not making any excuses, because we've had some guys out, we've had some injuries, we've had some challenging situations over the course of the year, but the guys have taken ownership of what we need to do. The best thing about this last stretch of games is they're really doing a good job losing themselves in the fight and playing together and helping each other and holding each other accountable. Those are the things that go into winning no matter what time of year it is.
Now, obviously, like you said, the guys are playing much more confident. It also feels like they're playing desperate, and that can be good and bad. You could play too far out of your mind, but it seems like they've channeled that, for the better. Do you sense that they're playing with, I guess, a healthy sense of desperation that they sort of need right now?
Well, I mean, it's a fine line. I think sometimes the best performers are somewhat on the brink, so it's a matter of being your absolute best, but you can't lose your mind either. This time of year, there's a lot of projections, there's a lot of predictions that just goes along with our game and the way things are. I told the guys yesterday, if they're not making projections about you or any predictions about you, then, that means you're probably having a really bad year. So everybody else, even if you're Kansas, having won however many games in a row they've won, then it becomes about seeding and all that kind of stuff. So we just, really try to harp on focusing on what we can control, leaving that other stuff to everybody else outside of our program, and just really our guys pouring into each other. We always say people are people through other people, and the fact that Andrew Jones is playing so well, that's because of his teammates and because of his influence on them and their influence on him. Same thing with Courtney Ramey, same thing with some of our other guys that have stepped forward.
One of those projections is that this game between you guys and Oklahoma could be for that fifth and possibly final NCAA bid in the Big 12. Do you feel that way, and you talk to your guys in those terms?
I wonder sometimes if those projections are like just made up, just for a specific game. I remember there was one a couple years ago, and I don't really look at that stuff, but I do watch the replay of the game, obviously on tape, and it's typically the TV copy. So I remember a couple years ago, there was one that said, if we won the game, we had a 98% chance of making the tournament. So we won the game, and then the next game, we're playing the next game, and I'm watching the tape of the next game, and it said we had a 44% chance. And we hadn't played in between. So what happened? But, we live in a day and age of computers and analytics and projections, but at the end of the day, there's a committee of people that'll get together and already has gotten together. We'll continue to evaluate teams, and the best thing we can do to help ourselves in those conversations is win and play well. Our guys understand that, and that's what we're going to focus on.
The confidence that your guys had Saturday, the way Andrew pulled up over Moretti, the way Courtney leaned in, on that three towards the end, Royce going up and getting the putback. I mean, what did you make of just their level? If no fear is what you want to use, but just that level, they didn't care.
Well,
they just did it.
It's the only way to be. I mean, you go there, and their crowd and the way that whole dynamic in that building, their mindset is we're going to blow you guys out. And so if you go in there with anything other than a level of confidence and belief, unwavering connectivity, then it's going to be a tough day.
How do you repeat that? How do you get to repeat that?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Brian, is our guys. We've talked about this a lot in the past. They know what goes into winning. As coaches, we will every single day continue to beat the drum from the standpoint of this is what it takes, this is what we got to do, this is what goes into beating this specific team. But the bottom line is we've had great ownership of that of late, led by Courtney. He's really set a tone with that. And how we repeat that is, as a group, coaches, players, everyone, we put our best foot forward and do everything we can to make it happen. Some of it has to do with the other team as well. We're playing Oklahoma. They're a heck of a team. I imagine it's their senior night because it's their last home game. And, Doolittle's as good a player as there is in our conference. And so we've got to do a good job understanding what they do as well.
Andrew played 39 minutes and held it.
Yep.
Competed on both ends of the floor, all 39. I don't think that's something he could have done at the beginning of the season. Just how far has he come in just the game conditioning aspect, and how much fun is it to just watch this guy do this, considering all that he's been through?
Well, I kept asking him if he needed a break. That's the last couple games because I don't think in the West Virginia game he came out in the second half either, and we just couldn't really afford to sub him out with who we have out right now. But he has an energy to him that is just allowing him to continue playing. He's playing hard. I mean, he's playing really good on defense, playing aggressively. He's certainly come a long way from where he was. I mean, we've all talked about in September he was getting treatment. So he's built his body. He's put a lot of extra work in. He's put time in with Coach Hootie. He does a good job taking care of himself. And I think the more important thing, though, is his spirit and his confidence is at a very high level, and that's what we want to make sure we continue.
Going off of that, I mean, you wins Big 12 Player of the Week, Co-Player of the Week honors. Just his production has been invaluable for you guys. How big has he been during this 4-game winning streak?
He's been extremely big because he can score. That's something that is invaluable to any team. But our team, our identity is defense. That's what we hang our hat on. We've played very good defense of late, but you still got to put the ball in the basket at different times in the game just to stay attached, stay close or to keep a lead or to gain the lead. And he's really helped us in those situations. He can score in bunches, and he's shooting the ball with a lot of confidence, which is huge.
Obviously, you guys have had some success when you go to the press, but you're kind of limited in how much you can do that with just all the injuries, and especially if Donovan got that's going to limit it more. But I guess how do you, moving forward, with the guys that you have out, sort of pick and choose your spots of, when you want to do that and when you want to back off a little bit?
Just factor in everything. Factor in foul trouble. Factor in fatigue. Factor in. I felt like at Tech we had to press for times in the second half just to get our guys to that next step of aggressiveness. I didn't really like the feeling of just dropping back in half court man-to-man defense against their motion offense. I thought it was good from the standpoint of just establishing an aggressive mindset and way about us, and it did lengthen some of those possessions out as well.
Is there such a thing as you guys having an advantage because so many people are out, meaning that there's not much film on the combinations that you're throwing out there now? I mean, that film collection is growing, but Huggins didn't expect Will to hit some threes. I guarantee you Beard wasn't expecting Brock to hit threes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe so. I mean, I trust me. I mean, if it was up to me, if I could choose to have a fully healthy team, I would, want those guys to be available to play. But I give the guys that are playing a ton of credit from the standpoint of playing aggressive, confident, loose basketball. And I guess, one advantage of having a shorter rotation is those guys know that they can play and attack and be confident. If they make a mistake, you know, there's not really a ton of options to take them out. But, you know, you in these games against these really good teams, you can't make too many mistakes. Otherwise, it catches up with you. But I think, again, we have to have an aggressiveness, a tenacity to us. But that starts with, you know, how connected our guys have to be.
Is there,
I'm going to blame you for this next question, but you've increased my awareness of body language. And ever since Iowa State, you feel a little different, I think, on the sidelines. You trying to press some different buttons, or do you feel like you can coach this group a little bit different because of the different personnel that you have? I mean, back-to-back games with technicals, and was that like a conscious change? I mean, you're always very, very energetic, but it just seems the intensity collectively is higher right now.
I mean, I'm not trying to get technicals. I was actually surprised that our guys weren't mad at me when I did get both of those technicals. It's amazing how understanding they are. I would be mad at my coach if he gave the other team 2 points. But, you know, sometimes those things happen. Just trying to stand up for my team, stand up for my guys. You know, I enjoy coaching. I love being around these guys. You know, coaches love practice. They love the teaching component. I'm no different. But I love the games, too, because, I mean, if you're in this for competition, that's the competition time. And we spend so much time together training and trying to build something, and every time we play a game, it's a chance to test that. So, yeah, I mean, I've tried to give these guys energy. Anytime you have people out, that just means everyone's got to step forward, and that includes coaches too. You know, our coaching staff has done a really good job spending a lot of extra time with our guys and just trying to pour into them. And, you know, from my standpoint, I'm just trying to be in the moment for the guys with what they need. We went into halftime on Saturday. We were down 7, and it's like, guys, hey, let's go after this second half. And in that case, I couldn't really say much to the refs because I'd kind of been given a no tolerance order, and that way I could just, you know, focus on our guys and try to pour a lot of energy into them.
But with this personnel specifically, because you've got guys like Royce and Brock and Courtney that are just kind of junkyard dog type of guys, do you feel like you've been able to kind of challenge those guys a little bit differently just with the change in personnel?
Yeah, I mean,
they do have a different mindset when on the floor.
We don't really have a choice, you know. It's not an option, and sometimes maybe that is an advantage to your point of, you know, maybe sometimes in the past maybe guys thought they did have an option. They could be, you know, something different than that. But to me, like, that's when it comes down to it, especially in a game amongst two teams that really want to win or battling at the end of the conference season. That's the only way. You know, you have to have a nastiness about you. That's why we recruited Brock, you know, to come here. Royce has always been a guy that we've told, you got to be blue collar, man. You got to be different. And those guys are really owning that. You know, you mentioned Courtney. He's a dog, man. He's just who he is. He, you know, when he got away from that at times earlier this year, I think all of us probably watched and said, it's not the real Courtney, and it's great to see him back to being nasty. And that's the only way we can win right now.
I don't think it's much of an issue, but is there any concern, or do you have to guard against these guys thinking, okay, we've got it figured out, we've won 4 in a row back-to-back over ranked teams, just like we're good now, or do you have to keep them on edge like they were coming?
Well, I think you always got to keep your guys on edge. You always have to continue to remind them what goes into success, and then also use what we call ugly reminders, which is reminders of, you know, what can, you know, go wrong if you don't do the right things. But I don't think our guys are overconfident, if that's what you're asking. I think there's obviously a understanding of Oklahoma and how good of a team they are. They came in here and beat us a couple months ago, and they're playing really, really well. And they do a great job with individual matchups. So I think our guys, from the standpoint not just of team but also individually, understand that it's a heck of a challenge. Now you got to go against Doolittle, or you got to go against Reeves, or you got to go against Manick, or there are other guys. I'm going to have to step forward and really, really be at my best.
Last one, please.
One thing about the previous matchup, it probably goes a lot different if y'all went 8 for 29,
Yep.
I think, from threes. If y'all are just more of a normal shooting night, probably a lot different. But my question was going to be, out of the first round of Big 12, is that the only game that you would like a do-over?
Coaches want to.
That would definitely could have gone y'all's way.
Coaches want to do over for any game where they come up short, but our focus is on today. We have an opportunity to practice for 80, 90 minutes this afternoon and pack as much into that as we possibly can to help these guys get better without wearing their bodies out. And then tomorrow at 8 o'clock, just let it absolutely rip and see what we can do.
With Royce, obviously, he's been here for a while. He's been stuck behind some really good bigs. And now that he's kind of gotten that chance to have a run and not worry about, playing for minutes or just like getting pulled or anything like that, I mean, have you seen him just, embrace the type of player that he can be? Or, he's just, like you said, he's going out there, blue collar, hard hat, lunch pail sort of deal.
Well, he's always at his best when he loses himself in the fight. Royce is a very conscientious, great kid. And sometimes in the past, he could tend to overthink things and almost psych himself out. And so what he's done well of late is just gone out to compete. And, even like the Texas Tech game the other day, he had a couple turnovers early. There was a couple plays that didn't go his way, but he just kept fighting, kept battling, had a big block for us midway through the first half. That's who he is. He's a motor guy. He's an energy guy. I think sometimes we guys walk into our practice gym and they look up on the wall and they see the great players that have played here. And, we obviously want to pay homage to those guys, and we would love to coach more and more guys like that. But sometimes when you're a player, the best thing you can do is understand that you're not him. You're not that guy. So what you need to be is the best version of you right now for your team in order to go win the next game. And then as we do our extra work and going into the off season, let's get you better at this or let's get you better at that. But right now, we just need you to guard this guy to the best of your ability and then go grab the ball when they miss. And Royce has done a good job of that.
Is it fair to say that Donovan's going to be out Tuesday, or you don't know yet?
I don't know definitively, but I would be amazed if he wasn't. Like I said, he's been been in pain already, but been in added pain since that first half. And he's, for whatever reason, not been able to see the specialist until this afternoon. But I mean, he's been walking around in a brace. Now, there's no fear of like a torn ACL or anything like that. But I would guess that he'll be unavailable.
And do you have anything new update-wise on either Jericho or Jace or Gerald?
Those guys are still out indefinitely. Jace actually is going to have a procedure done on his knee. I don't know the exact name for it, but I think it's similar to a scope. Just having to kind of clean some stuff out there from when he got hurt in that first Texas Tech game. So that will be on Wednesday when we get back.
Anything else?
Is that likely 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we'll get back to the year?
Yeah, I believe so.